that's what happened.
Oh, no, why? Hey, good day.
Muna technology na anu.
Oh,
I just said to go up since 6 o'clock or knock at or quarter. So my phone out for him. Yeah. So
I am a choice, but crash course I am on it.
Course on card, Diego.
Oh, Mwazia Catalan here, Fufe Nisi. Igwe ka ọ bịa n'ọdụ.
Ọ dị mma ịmaka o.
Kọmputa ma ọ ga-echenji obi ya.
There one, good evening, good evening.
There were good evening, Keduna.
Adekwa mma ka ekume.
I know for my, I know for my. Ndi bega.
Nsogbu adịghị na. Thank you for joining again.
We thank you for inviting me again.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
No, sir.
Adekwa mma.
Ugo is okay.
Okay.
Ugo, we kisi Sonya Basso says okay, Kede BC.
I'm on you, Muchi.
Okay. Cancel na from accent din ya ma ikwechakwa ndị obodo a.
Well, I am accent Muchi.
Well, accent ndị adazi.
Ka adazi nke
Adazi enu.
Okay, yeah. I think you said so before. Yeah.
FIFA. Oh ya ka nwechata wee sị mba. Ka njụ ajụọ.
Umure nne m adazi nnukwu.
No.
So
Adazi ana na adazi nnukwu ụmụnne. Adazi enu bụ isi. Adazi nnukwu ọdụdụ.
Okay. When I got na amụta.
Oh ya nwanụ. Oh ya.
Better within there, there's a lot. So I'm asking can asu.
That's what I'm asking in the others.
Yeah. Okay. We say I think there'll be more than a few people. So because we have we're doing it with Igbo Unite.
Yeah.
Depending on their turnout, we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Obikedo. Good evening. Yeah. Ipotana.
Moderate here, internet you upgrade. Get the freeze last week it was a headache, so man you network.
As one network here.
Man in a freeze na.
Okay. Let me reboot.
Okay.
Hold on.
You name slow motion. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be on mute and then we'll wait for people to join.
Okay,
I'm going to put you on mute.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Evening.
Igwe.
I didn't know what.
Igwe. Igwe.
Iyom Chi.
Igwe Ogwuike.
Ichie na-etu afa.
Oh.
Igwe Ogwuike.
Ichie abaka.
Ọ sị na ya na-ekene.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, ndewo. Una apụtakwala ọfụma taa.
Anyị pụtara nnọọ. Anyị pụtara nsogbu adịrọ.
Ọrụ nwanne ka anyị na-eji.
Okay. Anyị kene Chukwu.
Ya onye nwa.
Anyị tụka alụ ọnụ.
Onye.
Amụrụ m obere laptọpụ Ada ji eme ife anọkọtazi na-emebe nwoke anyị. I use what
Hi, Henry. Hi, Ozo.
Hi, Mama.
Yeah. Ndewo. Okay, mmiri. Daalụ.
Igwe, ndewo.
Mgbe Igwe anọrọzi ya. Ọka digodo on mute.
Okay.
Your daddy nọkwa ebe ahụ.
Oh.
Ya na ọdụ ugo. Mede ịma afụ ya.
Okay.
Ada.
Ndewo.
Ya na oke mmiri.
Oke mmiri ekenekwa ndo.
Ndewo.
Kene izu ọgụ n'ihe eme.
A sị na ya kenere izu ọgụ n'ihe eme.
Nkenekwa abagana.
Okay. Daalụ.
Ndewo.
Where is that? Okay, that's you there. Imagine enough. Okay. And you're on mute.
More like the place to get all the money.
Oh, Igwe Ogwuike.
The local bag.
Igwe, Kenny.
I love you.
Very good. Good to see you.
Oh,
Hey.
it's been a while.
Eh? Oh, yeah, no, to go to his work.
Yes.
Auto Columba.
Oh, Nzeluaka.
Kedu.
Nzeluaka nke abaga na kedu.
Ele ka ọ dị ka ekichie.
Ichie na ọfụma.
Nzeluaka. Ichie abaga na. Anọkwa m ọkwa anyị bụ ọkọnkwọ nọ n'ụlọ. Ofolusigo. Ofolu. Anyị ọkọnkwọ nọ n'ụlọ ka anyị bụziri anyị nọdụ n'ụlọ gbede ọkpa. Nwa dike nọ n'ụlọ. Kome. Daalụ nọ.
Huh?
You do a great job.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Go there, enjoy.
It's your hubby. That's hubby.
I don't mean that.
Igwe.
Ogwuike.
Igwe.
Ekime.
Nsogbu akara nkụ ka ekime.
Anyị nọ n'ọfụma.
Daalụ rinne.
Anyị ebido ka.
Mba, anyị ebidobe aka ya in the next 2 or 3 minutes anyị ebido.
Okay.
Yeah. Ọdụ nwaanyị kwanụ.
Ọ nọ ọfụma. Arụde.
Okay.
Good.
But I know that truth, your volume has to be down.
You are unmuted.
Ọdụ nwaanyị. Kedu. Anyị nọkwa.
Because the local set technology.
I woke up with setting and the technology rinne.
I'm on a technology I will
Yes, sir. But this is wonderful anyway.
Okay.
It makes things easy.
Yeah,
and I'm asking the that even meeting I give every month. I think we need to curtail all those running around.
Oh yes.
Technology.
Yes, because it can put this in every face will be here. I mean, it's wonderful anyway.
Yeah. Hi, Chichi.
So even for classroom here with 30 students, you still use it and do very well in a class. So how can they behave? So it's not bad at all.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Igwe ekelekwamu ọdụ awai.
Oh, I'm
Sente. Oh, yo na-ekele unu.
Oh, yo. What dear na? Kede.
Anọnya.
Ele bebe mo.
Iyom.
Oh, yo. Continental.
Bam.
Remember.
Good evening, sir.
Good afternoon.
I think I need another 4 minutes. Call 8:10, and then we'll start.
Okay.
That way round up.
Okay. All the
when did catch you can time you can Igbo can name.
Yeah,
Adakedu, Ifi.
Good evening.
Good evening. Kedu.
Adema.
Eze Mugo Adazi.
Oh no, Papia Papia would do Papa and Ododo.
Wow. No, in Atlanta, Ebaco.
No, I'm no more. Wisconsin.
Oh, if I knew.
On a swing stage.
Okay, my car go okay because
Adema, not here now.
Excellent.
My dear, Kedu.
I don't mind.
Kedu.
I like Adam. Ude weather. Ude weather. Upuze ni vedi na ni no na kolore nwa ha choro chubata bag. That's much good money. Ekwa who's ben na bata much is kwa bata man okwu ka ọ na-achọ.
Unu go ya nke ọ ya na.
Yes.
Diego. Adanzelua.
Good evening.
Good.
No.
Iyom.
Good.
Ọ dị n'ọma. Ndalụ. Ọdụ anwaanyị ekelekwa m.
Ezi ogoli. No.
Ndalụ.
Ebe ochie. Your Danny book.
Ọ dịka ka na connect.
Iyom, good evening.
Oh, good evening.
Good evening.
Ọdụkwa keno n'ezide anyị.
Okay.
President.
Ọdụkwa keno on the road.
We are still working. You know, my kids are very young. You know. You know. Igwe Ngoddy. Igwe Ngoddy. Adikwa
Amadike.
I can go.
Adike,
But I had him ready for you and your man. Can't you the laptop in case you run over late?
Oh.
So I can connect from anywhere.
That's very good.
All right. I could go 8:10 n'akụkụ nke m. So, ndewo na onye ọna. And thank you, Igwe Yade. No, Iyom Chi Ezekwueche. Thanks for coming back again.
Dalo.
By popular demand.
By popular demand. I don't know if we had in a screen. Ihachi Meta Igbo heritage, our Igbo heritage. What is our role? What is the future in the diaspora? What is our role? Kehaye make Igbo wedi. Bearing in mind a lot of us are Ugundi America. And the reality is a lot of us will probably die here. But for my protest, part of the protest are fighting for everything. Well, for the African Americans, this is where it ends. So they have to get their rights. We have to get our rights. So how do we ensure that our children will be able to say that and have a place? How do we continue the language and culture? So because here I on the panelists, even though I am Igbo, manangwe ndi Igbo unite. Ụfọdụ ndị ụmụ anyị anaghị aghọtachi Igbo. So as much as we do Igbo, we do English as well. So I assume Igbo guys because onye background ya na-eme but thank you. So I think we should go ahead and get started, and I'm happy to have our own Igbo Unite Igbo principal, Obin Joko. He's very passionate about the Igbo cause, and a lot of people never what they know. He's prepared some questions, but for everybody not on, we have the panelists, but they are not the know or be all. So I had and the reason why we selected them obviously is Igwe and Ngoddy is Igwe. Is the custodian of the culture from the Atani. Iyom Chi is somebody that needs no introduction and has played a lot of role here in setting up a lot of things here in Atlanta. So we are very honored to have them to bring their ideas to the table. But as much as we have questions, let us also bring suggestions to the table. So without wasting time, I'll turn it over to Principal Njoko so that he'll tell us how we handle tonight. None.
Because Maazị Ezeoke, ka enwe ike iji ekele ekpere wee bido no biko.
Biko, of course. I won't hear you do I biko.
Oh.
Igwe nọkwara ụlọ.
Bunite na obi unu. Oh, Igwe. Oh, daalụ biko Igwe, I defer to Igwe. Odu anyị na ekpele.
Igwe ga-edu na ekpele nke taa. Gwa gwara gị duwa ya.
Mba aka m sikwa Iyom ikpecha Igwe were ọjị maka ama na Igwe were ọjị nọ ihe omenala ka a na-eme taa. Igwe awala anyị ọjị tu nọ ihe omenala ka a nọ na ya. That would be my suggestion.
On the Dubai na ekpele na mwa airport state will say.
Ọ dị mma. Bunite na obi unu anyị ebunite gị. Chineke nna Chineke ọkpara Chineke mmụọ nsọ nna anyị na-ekene ya maka ụbọchị taata. Anyị na-ekene gị na ọ sọrọ gị masị gị n'obi ime ka anyị niile dị ndụ soro na ndị dị ndụ. Wee na-ekene gị maka ndị Nigerian Igbo Catholic Community of Atlanta na ndị ụmụ Igbo Unite, ndị tụtara atụmatụ a ka anyị wee nọkọ dịka ụmụnne wee kpaa ka omenala Igbo na asụsụ Igbo ya eji wee na-aga n'iru. Nna biko bịa nọnye n'etiti anyị wee na-ekenekwa gị ma na-ayọkwa gị maka COVID abịakwutela zuru ụwa ọnụ. Nna biko meela anyị ebere gbaala anyị njọ anyị niile. Bịa n'etiti anyị weta mmụọ udo na mmụọ ịfụnanya n'etiti anyị. Lord, we thank you for bringing us together to here today in unity as people of Igbo descent in America and the diaspora. We thank you for Igbo Catholic, Nigerian Igbo Catholic Community of Atlanta and also Igbo unite for this wonderful idea. Together we'll prosper. Igwe bike. Na ife ndị a ka a na-ekete na ayọ n'ife Jesus Christ bụ onye nwe anyị. Amen.
Amen.
Daalụ.
Ọka ome, nkịta ka ị bịa.
Igbo ji emepụkwa n'ife ọbụla anyị na-eme bụ ekpere anyị ji ọjị wee kpe. A na-ekwu nke a ndị nwe anyị anabata anyị ọfụma. Chineke anyị na-efe. Bụrụ anyị ọjị abịa n'ụọ.
Igbo anyị na-ekele go dijo.
Si na ọfụrụ ọjị fụrụ ndụ o. Ndị be anyị ga-adị n'ụọ.
Ise.
Anyị ga-adị ka echi maka echi ada agwụ agwụ.
Ise.
Anyị ji were aha anyị bụ ndị ekpere n'ụkpa wee binye ndị nwe anyị. Ya na wee mee ka anyị pụta ụla taa. Maka ndị nabara ụla anyị abalị ụfọdụ na-etetara n'ụtụtụ a. Ngwa ndị teta na-enwere ike ịrapụ ebe akwaba dị. So na anyị na-ekene ya egosi wee mee ka anyị pụta ụla taa. Enwe na-asị ya na mgbe nke Igbo a bụ onye anyị ka anyị ga-eji wee mee ndụ a ka ndụ a. Onye nyere ihe ndụ ga-enye ya ife oge nye ya ife ị ga-eji tome ya bụ nke ya bụ. Ịtọ bụ ekele maka ụmụ anyị. Anyị aka ka ụmụaka anụ o nyere anyị ya ekenye n'ebe a. Ndị anyị zụrụ azụ ka ọ nwee ike na-elote anyị ma na anyị onye na-amara ebe o si onye na-amara ebe mmiri si ama ebe mmiri kwụsịrị so na anyị ji ekpere wee na-ekele ya wee na-asị ya na ụbọchị ọbụla mmadụ tetara ụra n'ụtụtụ ọbịa gozie ya nwe egozie ya ego o mesikwukwa nri ya ebiri na oge emeri ya so na anyị ji ekene bụ ibe juru anyị ọnụ ebe ndị anyị na-eke anyị na ihe na-ayọsi ya ike wee sị ya biko na ha bịa kọnala anyị ọnụ ka anụ anyị bụ ụmụ ya were ya n'ibe n'ibe si n'afa Kraịst.
Amen. Ogwuike.
Igwe daalụ.
Ndị be anyị ndị ewu
ya zuru ezu ọ gbara ise o zuru na-ezu ọfụma karịa
Igwe
ihe enyezi anyị nke anyị n'ikuku.
Unu ga-atazi nke unu n'ikuku.
Ya ka o mee.
Daalụ nụ.
Ichie Ogoji ya. Ụmụnne m daalụ nọ.
Biko onye na-anaghị ekwu okwu ya mmutukie na microphone ya biko ka anyị wee nwee ike minimize ya background noise. Onye chọọ ịjụ ajụjụ tinye microphone ya on wee jụọ ma onye nwere ajụjụ biko ya tinye microphone ya na mute. Ndị be anyị ndewo nụ nke abụọ Igwe ị ga-adị daalụ ịbịa nọnyere anyị. Iyom daalụkwa na ịbịa na-achị azụ na agba nke Igbo ịbịa nọnyere anyị. To everyone else, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is week 10 of our weekly community online gathering. And as you already know, today we are discussing about Igbo culture, especially as it pertains to efforts towards preserving our culture and passing it on to the next generation. And we have two very capable and accomplished members of our community, Igwe, Azuka and Ngoddy, Ogwuike and Atani, and Iyom Chi Ezekwueche. So Ugo has already done the introduction, but as is the custom, we will start by asking each panelist to introduce themselves fully as they want to be known. So Igwe, Biko, can I begin with you? Let's start with you. Could you please go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody, because not everyone here, there might be some people here who do not know you personally or in detail. So please go ahead and introduce yourself. I think your microphone is on mute. If you can unmute it and then take it from there. Igwe, yeah, microphone then
Ugo, you cannot mute him though. Ugo, go ahead and unmute him.
It's not letting me. It's not letting me.
Yeah, to Zanzuna.
Okay.
The mute button, the na bottom left of the screen. If you can hear me. Iyom nso.
Anọ m ya.
Ngwa biko Abaka na-eche egwu biko kọwara anyị onwe gị. Please introduce yourself for the audience for the benefit of those who might not know you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. My name is Iyom Chi, abbreviated Chi Ezekwueche. Married to Dr. Christian Ezekwueche from Abaga, Namangwasi Adazienu. And we came here to the United States in 1973, just the two of us with two luggages and two minds full of hope. And so we came here, both of us, we love being Igbo. That's all we know, excited about Igbo and everything about Igbo. There is no perfect place, but I just love Igbo, being Igbo. And thank God for that gift of, just gift of awareness of our culture. And we have 5 wonderful children and 2 wonderful sons-in-laws, 7 beautiful grandchildren. And they are the reason we do what we do. They are the reason we are insistent on dialogue.
Okay, thank you very much. Igwe is back. Okay, very good. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Afam bụ His Royal Highness Igwe Azuka Augustine Ngoddy, Eze Ogwuike nke Igbo na Atani Kingdom. Ndị otu Igbo Unite na ndị Catholic Men's Organization. I'm making only create to the venue dị etu a ka e wee nwee ike na-agwa onwe anyị okwu. Maka ụmụ ife anụ anyị na-eme bụ ife kpata na Igbo ji wee bụrụ Igbo. Ọ bụrụ na lote etu chi wee kwetinye na DS wee bịa na 1973. Etu akwa ka ọtụtụ n'ime anyị si wee bịa. Ebi ofu akpachi. Ebi abịa si emesịa anụkwa nwaanyị kpọtakwa nwaanyị. Wee bido. Mana ife mere anyị ji wee dị iche. Anyị nwa bụ ndị Igbo ji wee dị iche wee dị iche. N'ebe ọ bụla anyị nọ, mmụọ afọ bụ mmụọ Igbo nọ n'ime anyị. Ọ bụ sọ ịbịalụ na adị bụ wee bịa o. By the time ị gaarị nwantịntị wee fụkwa ndị Igbo ọzọ. Ya bụ ife a mere iji wee bụrụ Igbo apụta ozugbo n'ime ebe ị nọ. Ndị onye bụ ife a bụ Igbo dị n'ime anyị. Ife na-enyere anyị aka. Mmekọasị ndị Igbo. Ife na-enyere anyị aka. Wee na-aga n'ihu etu anyị si wee na-aga. Nke a bụgodu mbido ka anyị na-ebido. Mana ụmụ amago onye mbụ ọtụtụ n'ime ụnụ ma onye mbụ bifọ mgbe ịtụ a mbụkwa ka ịtụ a ndịkwa bifọ ndịkwa ka ndịkwa kịta. And I believe na anyị ga-atụ alụ ga-abara anyị. Daalụ.
Daalụ. Biko ka akpụ okwu n'ọnụ ka njikwa ga-ajụjụ ọzọ. But before I ask you a question, for the benefit of those who may not have understood what he said fully, he said that it is a beautiful thing that we have this forum, and it is one of the identifying marks of being Igbo people is that wherever we go in this world, we look for Igbo people, and once we find like-minded Igbo people, we organize ourselves and have a community. So it is that same spirit that spurs us to this moment and in this platform that we have discovered to use to keep to keep up with one another despite social distancing measures. So we thank you, Igwe. My follow-up question for you is, where exactly is Atani located on the map for those who might not know where Atani Kingdom is?
Atani is located in Ogbaru local government. Ogbaru local government with the next local government after Onitsha. Isi Delta State, Anambra State. The very first junction, intersection, that intersection. You make Rana right there, everywhere there, all the way to River State, along that River Niger, Ogbaru East. Then the other side of the River Niger is Ogbaru Delta. Then when you get into River State, Ndone Nuchi, and also in the middle of the Niger on the other side of the Niger, before Igwe Kende Baesa, Panchaine Ogbaru rivers. So Nandi Ogbaru, Bonbadi scattered in Nigeria along the River Niger, south of Onitsha. Then on the east, Bundi Ogbaru, Anambra. Then on the Delta side, Ogbaru Delta. Then on the rivers, Ogbaru rivers. Outside the rice.
Okay.
Atani the Netiti, Ogbaru, Anambra, Ogbaru East.
Okay, Dalu, thank you very much. One more question before we move on. You are the Igwe Ogwuike, the second in Atani.
Yes.
Could you give us any idea of how long the Atani Kingdom has existed?
Well, more about the 16th Igwe. The history has it, they've been there for over 700 years. About the same age on the migration and the integration with other parts of the eastern region. So more about the 16th. They calculated the duration of each person there. It will balance out 500 to 700 years.
Wow, wow, that's a lot of history. That's very humbling. I don't know where I was 700 years. Okay, Iyom, in your opening remarks, you mentioned that you came here in 1973, just you and your husband and 2 suitcases. Could you give us a brief, as far as you can remember, as far as your memory can carry you, what are some of the initial challenges you had as a young couple migrating from Nigeria to the United States?
Yes, of course, it's a lot of culture shock. Emma, the Igbo people were always greeting. Keki Mele, how are you today? And if you meet somebody on the road or wake up in the morning, you don't say good morning or good afternoon or dona or nda or however the greetings go, then that is a classic example of lack of home training. And of course, anyone that meets you on the way will look at you twice. And before you get home, your mother or your father will know that you misbehaved. So to come to a place where people do not greet, that was a culture shock. Abbreviating my name, Ezekwueche. They want to call me Mrs. E. I said no. I had to train them to say Ezekwueche. You have to claim that right. You don't train anybody, you lose that right. Then you become Mrs. E, and E has no meaning by itself, Nani Igbo. Another one is giving nicknames, especially for the last name, because for Igbo people, our names mean a lot, especially. The last thing you want to abbreviate is your last name. But a lot of us tend to oblige the other people instead of standing firm on our heritage. So that was a shock. But another shocker was that in school, it was hard for me to call a professor by first name. And they demanded, American professors, hey, call me Charles or call me George. That was very hard for me to do. I insisted on calling them by their last name until it grew on me. So little things like that I could. And another one that really got me, after we've been here in the United States for about 4 or 5 years, especially after Roots was aired in 1977, being called the N-word, that was a huge culture shock. And for no reason, you see. And so those are some of the culture shocks. And of course, the food is different. I had to learn how to use local ingredients to make Nigerian foods. You see, we had to use, I did not use Bisquick, but we went for, because we went for cream of wheat and things like that. So that's really, those are the initial things that.
Okay. So eventually you had children. I heard you say in your opening remark that you have 5 children, and we thank God for that. And I imagine, or maybe I assume, that when you had children, it was also a priority for you to teach your children Igbo culture. And since there was no community there, and it was just you and your husband, as I understand, what techniques did you use to impart Igbo culture to your children when you and your husband were the only examples that they had?
As you aptly said in your opening remarks, Igbo people, that's our hallmark. Wherever we go, we must find out where other Igbos are in that community. So we were fortunate. We had a few people that took us in when we came in. There were a few others. So we had a little minor community in Washington, D.C. But having said that, we started off our children with conversational Igbo. Kedu afage, you know, how are you? Nyemumiri, lienni, ebeki isi, ebeki neje, things like that. We really started them off very early with conversational Igbo, bearing in mind that if we don't engage them early, it's going to be a little more difficult down the road. So we engage them in chores, washing onubu, cutting okra. I mean, I could do it faster and easier, but my mother came, when she visited, she said, Chebunam, that is, train your children, train them, make the extra effort. And that's what we try to do. We introduce them very early to Nigerian foods, all the various types of food. They come from Abagana, their original place, and their favorite is onubu. So they all had to learn how to wash onubu, to the point that one of them said, I found the technique for washing it, because it's a chore by itself.
Right.
And so we modeled. I was even braiding my hair, doing my, the one they now call me Riamaka, which is again, rejection of who we are. You know, by the time we left, we were threading our hair with thread. So when I came here, I continued that tradition. You know, you have to, and still hold your head very high. So we wore a Nigerian clothing, and our home was basically Nigerian. They are Americans, but of Igbo Nigerian heritage. So that's what we did. You know, I mean, to help them out, of course, Nigerian music, Igbo high life, you know, all sorts. My husband loved the Ekpili. He put on the Ekpili music all the time. So anyone that came into our home knew that they came into an Igbo Nigerian home. And so it was not difficult at all, because it was something that needed to have been done.
Okay, very good. So I'm very, very happy to hear you say that it was not difficult at all, because it was a conscious and deliberate and consistent effort. Yeah. That is something to remember for everyone who's listening. We will come back more on family and culture, but let me get a little bit of nugget of history again from Igwe and Ngoddy. Igwe, you have been outside Nigeria for more than 30 years. And we know that you lived in Atlanta for a long time, raised your family and kids here. At some point, the people of your community invited you to come back and be the Igwe. Why you? Why was it you of all the people in Atani that they decided to bring back from America to come and be the Igwe of Atani?
Well, I was surprised too myself, even though my family belongs to one of the clans that produces Igwe for the community. But for the fact that I was invited was surprising to me, because I thought our turn has passed, because it's a rotational, ours is a rotational type of kingship for Atani. But the community came together and decided to send some emissaries to come and invite me home in Igwe. See, like I told you when I started, this spirit of being an Igbo man is always in us, all of us. And I'm sure it's in you too. Sometimes when you go to sleep here, you will think you're sleeping in Nigeria. It's not. It's nothing shocking. It's just that spirit of the Igbo man that is in you. And because that when we were growing, our parents made sure that we were rooted as much as they could in our culture, that we appreciate our culture, we get involved in everything that is ours. When they invited me, it's like, hey, you come and continue with what we expected you to do. And it was easy, and I was able to go. And luckily for me, I will say I was here for 40 years. I didn't disappoint them. Thank you.
Okay. So, yeah, that tells me that even though you were outside Nigeria for 40 years, you said, you really never lost touch with tradition and culture.
Yes.
Okay. So we are now in the 21st century. You have different levels of government in Nigeria, from the local government councillor all the way to the president. Why is it still important to have traditional rulers despite all these other types of governments that we now have?
Well, you know that the traditional rulers, I would say, is almost the fourth tier of the government, due to the fact that some of the messages cannot still go deep and get to the grassroots the way they should, except when they go through the traditional rulers' palaces. It goes deep and get exactly to the least in the food chain in Nigeria through the traditional rulers. And as custodians of our culture, which you know will never die, you know, people that are highly cultured like Igbo and other tribes in Nigeria, the traditional rulers, they do help to bring that tie between us and the local government, by extension, the state, and then the federal. So the role of traditional rulers is still very important in our system, because they fill that grassroots gap between the government at the top and the government at the lower level.
I see. So there's obviously a type of coordination between traditional rulers on the grassroots to the other levels of government that we have.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
The traditional rulers meet regularly every month and
discuss
with the governor and everybody to make sure that the people are completely tied together in the system.
Okay. So you have almost in every statement you made, one running thing that I have heard from you so far is that you are the custodians of our culture. And many of us will agree that we are fighting a very hard fight these days to preserve our culture from westernization, and some of them from points of interaction with Christianity when they tend to not reconcile in some cases. So as a custodian of the culture, when you have aspects of our culture that clash with Christian traditions, how are things like this resolved in order to make sure that we do not lose our culture?
Well, our culture is very, very beautiful. I think that we are highly blessed, I guess, by nature and our God, for giving us a very unique culture, a compassionate culture, a culture that makes you to automatically love your neighbor, yourself, and your family. So that culture is what made us exactly who we are. In the sense that, I don't know, you must have read some of our books, some books like Things Fall Apart. I'm sure you must have read some.
I think I have read it.
I have. You can see the display of the Igbo culture in real practice in that book. If you remember when Okonkwo was banished from his community, he went to where his mother came from.
Right.
As he arrived there with his 3 wives, the community got together. People contributed yam seedlings. Some people contributed food. Before you know it, Okonkwo was settled in his mother's place, while the heat that was going on in his hometown is still going there. It took a while for him and his people to resettle, to die off that period of punishment and banishment for the murder he committed. So that can easily give you an idea of what the Igbo culture does for all of us. So by coming here in extension, we're able to interact with other people, and we saw people, wonderful people like Ichi Ogwuike and his family, Ekridiku Dewez, and some others who are entrenched in Igbo culture like we are. And it wasn't long, we started planning Igbo Union, started planning World Igbo Congress, different community organizations. All these are the things that made it so easy for us to survive all this number of years here. And then we are slowly now going to pass it over to our children and make sure we monitor them to keep it alive so that they too will benefit from the way we did. And
Okay.
the Christianity part of it, because if you don't bring the Christianity part of it into the play, you look like I'm playing a little politics to avoid it. Look, our culture is so rich. If you go deep down into the Igbo culture, you will see that even the Igwes also play the role of high priest. Even some of the elders. It's not anything that is bad. We are not worshiping no devil. We are worshiping the Chukwu Abiyama. Okay? I know there are certain practices that were carried out in the extreme olden days, like maybe eliminating the twins, certain things that they cannot explain. We try our best, like myself now, I'm a pure-born Christian. But at the same time, I appreciate all our tradition and all our cultures that does not conflict with the deep hidden part. But that does not mean that I don't control what happens in there, because I'm always aware of what is going on there. Even if the witches want to have a meeting, they will come and get a permit from the palace at their meeting, because Igwe is Igwe of the whole community, both the witches, the normal and the abnormal, and that's the way it is. Our culture is very wonderful. And,
okay.
We have to make it.
Thank you very much for
Christianity.
Okay. Iyom, you are a very strong Christian woman. You forced us, or you reminded us to start this gathering with prayer. So I would like to know if you could give us a little bit of your perspective as someone who is also entrenched in culture, as you put it, and holding your faith as a Christian. How do you balance things out and reconcile some conflicts between the two traditions when you find them?
Yes, thank you very much. I was raised by a father who was purely, totally 100% Christian, but also 100% traditionalist. He does not believe there's a conflict. The reason being that God is the God of all cultures. If he didn't think that Igbo tradition, Igbo culture was good, he would not have created us in the first place. Having said that, there are some practices that we had in Igbo land that were not so good. And there is no perfect culture, neither is Igbo a perfect one. The modern denigration of women by some of the Igbo men and women is totally un-Igbo and is totally un-Christian. God created male and female and gave each gender specific roles. And that role, according to my father, is for men and women, Igbo women, to come together in parallel institutions, but with a common goal of making our Igbo communities very good. But what happened when colonization came? It really tilted the balance and started denigrating women in the sense that they started losing their status in the community. The Igbos believe that Ifekwulu, Ifeakudevi, it is a statement and a phrase of fact that we cannot ever forget. And that has to do with the male-female relationship. That Ifekwulu, Ifeakudevi, when one thing stands, another of equal value stands next to it. And with that, the family stands, the community stands, the nature stands, the Igbo as a group of people will stand. So there is, God created us, like I said, and there is no confusion about that. There are some practices, though, that we had in terms of treatment of widows that were un-Igbo, and they are also un-Christian. But with the coming of Christianity, that has shown light on some of those practices, and most of them have been modified. I'll give a personal example.
Okay.
My father, when I was born in 1948 and baptized in 1949 at 3 months, he went to the Anglican priest, submitted my first name, Chiebonam, second name, Ifeyinwa. Those are my Christian names. And the man, it took him a while to really understand. He wanted my father to present an English name. And my father, being sure of himself, said, no, these are her two names, Chiebonam, Ifeyinwa. They went back and forth. And then my father asked him, I said, can you explain to me why an Igbo child with English name, with English name will go to heaven, but an Igbo child with traditional Igbo names will not? God helped that man because he was one of the good ones. He wasn't totally entrenched, but my father challenged him. And so he said, okay, give me the names. So I am Chiebonam, I'm Ifeyinwa. Chiebonam has become my philosophy, the philosophy of my life, that God will never give me a load that I cannot carry. Second name, Ifeyinwa, there's nothing like a child, and I'm the oldest one, the first child of the couple. Of course, I was a girl born on a K day, so I'm Ogwuike. That's how the Igbos named their girls. If you're
Ogwuike.
Please don't go there. Don't go there.
Ogwuike is fine. I can try Ogwuike and it becomes a wonderful thing. Yes. Ogwuike, take your pick. If you're a boy born on Nkwo Day, you are Okonkwo or Nwankwo. So there's so much beauty that is not against Christianity. And so my father challenged the system. So what I'm doing, I'm just, I can't help it. I can't help myself because it's ingrained in me. You have to be comfortable with your name, defend it anywhere, because that's the beginning of your identity. Don't let anybody shorten it unless you shorten it yourself and you have like Chi or Chi-Chi, that's different. We have full name for the record, abbreviation just for fun. Okay, so there is no, I don't think there is any, what is what I'm looking for? There's no challenge. There's no competition between Christianity and Igbo. We all target the same thing, love. Love. Igbos know what love means. We love our children. We love our wives. We love our family. We love our community. We love to develop whatever community we find ourselves in. That's the Igbo spirit. It's not unchristian. And another thing I'll just mention at this juncture is that there seems to be a little bit of confusion, because some people look at the masquerade as something that is unchristian, but the same people that don't like masquerade system come here and embrace Santa Claus.
Halloween.
And Halloween. And the Muppets. You see, confusion. I'm not saying not to embrace them, but don't destroy your own because you want to embrace something else because somebody else said so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me remind everyone who's listening that we take questions. I hope that your microphone is still muted. When it's your turn to ask the question, please unmute your microphone and ask the question. Or you can also send it by text and we will ask the question live. Iyom, let me piggyback a little bit on some of the things you said about being sure of yourself. And thank you very much for bringing up the point about masquerade. You are an Igbo person. You came here and you have done a lot of work in the community to uphold our Igbo culture and Igbo identity. When we come here, we are also the quintessential African Americans. We come from Africa and now we're Americans. So why is attaching Igbo to our identity? Why can't we just blend in and just be an African American?
Okay, that's a very good question. God did not create us to blend in. He created us to be unique individuals. The best way to answer that question is by referring to the journey of our African and American brothers and sisters. And when I say African American, the native African Americans, the ones whose parents were brought here 400 years ago by force. Their names were changed. Kunta Kinte, if you remember, they're watching the Roots. His back was stripped because they refused. He insisted on answering Kunta Kinte. But no, they knew that if they devoided him of his name and his culture and his tradition, they would get him to do whatever they did. So, did that. And then there was a system of racism that divided people into black and white. Those we know are social constructs. There is no white, there's no black. We're all human beings. And so the blackness stuck and whiteness stuck. Eventually, the native-born African Americans now said, we need to attach our names and our culture to a continent because that's where we came from. Even if we cannot find our villages or our families in Africa, at least we'll have a continent. That's in a nutshell the genesis of the African American, and it makes better sense to answer African American. So people like Ekwuano, Olaude Ekwuano, some of you may know about him. He was enslaved at about 12 years old. And he came here, but he held on to his name, even though the spelling is different, he held on to his name, held on his culture, remembered the stories his mother told him, and eventually, with strengthened by that identity, he eventually became a freedom fighter, an abolitionist. And the reason I'm going this route to really, really explain why our children of Igbo heritage must maintain that heritage is that people have died fighting for that. Ekuano came not by his choice. His name was stripped not by his choice. Our African-American brothers and sisters, their names were stripped. Everything was stripped by force, not by choice. And so I really wonder why those of us that came here willingly will easily do away with our tradition. It will be very, very sad and pathetic. So it is very important. Where are you from? Yes, I'm a full, all these children were born that were born here are full-blooded Americans of Nigerian culture, African culture, African-American, Igbo, and then you can go to your villages.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Igwe, let me also, I would like to get your perspective also on this matter, because you as a custodian of the culture, how does our identity as Igbo people help us to uphold that culture and present it in a very positive light?
Like Chi's father did when she was young. I have 4 kids here, and you check here all 4 of them. Your first name, your middle name is all Igbo. The reason I gave them those names, like my first daughter is Uchechukwu, Ifeyinwa, Ngoddy. Ifenjiwe nyefe afa itu akoka nke bua wa amaka Anwule Ngoddy keto onye nke to bụ Ngoddy Obiageli Ngoddy itu aka esi we nyefe afa ife eji enyefe ụdị afa bụ na ebe ọbụla na fa ejela na ebe ọbụla fa nọ na afọ onye their name will stick. They get a video game, maybe don't have anya na-ebu ụzọ lisie before ọnụ elube. Onye Igbo ọbụla fụrụ anywhere, ma ọ nwere ife ọbụla ọ na-eme or any program ọ na-eme, immediately amago na onye Igbo. Ọ bụ wee komesizi ndị jụọ isi anne Igbo onye Igbo onye ahụ ebe ka Igbo. So osi n'ebe a wee bido. Then oge anyị na-ere izikwa akafa bịa. Ife dị ka nri Afrịka kute mmiri gbaa egusi. Rocha aja na rice. Ụmụ ife dị iche iche anyị na-eme n'ala Igbo. Never make sure na fa na-efolo. Maka mmadụ ama etufu culture. Culture iso n'ife ị na-eri. Culture iso na etu isi eri Igbo. Culture iso na akwa ị na-eyi. Culture iso na etu isi relate to ndị ọzọ. Culture iso na etu isi respect ndị okenye. Idebesi ịkwụbara ụmụaka ife niile etu a. Ebe nwekwa ndị Igbo ndị ọzọ na-emekwa etu a dịka ha na-eme. Then we'll come with I want the okay and organize. I miss Iyom Chi na be Ezekwueche. I miss him with the two. Iyom Chi I na-eje ekirike ana emewegasi mu ife dị na ya bụ ịwaji. Anyị nwa ndị onwe ndị ilofu na-amụtakwa wee na-edozi ya own dictionary. Ụmụaka na-amụtakwu nke bụ ndị nwadị ya na-agba ụgbọ ọkụkọ na Amerịka nwere ife dị ka ya. Ụmụ ife ndị a niile anyị na-eme patana ịpụzi anyị doje face chasịa ụmụ stress na ụmụ struggling ife ndị ọzọ niile dị the system here. Ịnatakwa asụ onye Igbo dịkwa calm down ụkwụ ya gbado n'ala and o nyere ụmụaka aka ma mara ebe fa nọ ebe ọbụla fa nọ ọ na-adịfa clear n'isi afa bụ ndị Igbo. So na ụmụ ife ndị a mere anyị ji wee dị obere iche. Ka ngwa ya eziokwu onye amara ebe mmiri si bido mabịa ama ebe ọ nọ wee kwụsị onye abụ ife anyị na so Because I know that some of us so the point I was trying to make is that no matter where we find ourselves, that Igbo spirit that is inside us is so strong that when we practice what we have already, what we got from our parents, we impart it the kids we have here, whom we already named, double Igbo names, some of them. We didn't call them stone or rock or plank. We gave them something that has a deep Igbo meaning. That is God's wish. You understand what I'm saying? If you want, there's nothing like a child. You know, if they get straight to it, they deep Igbo. And the Kuzi can be on the even our ground. So, fan or Rosia Malo, Maconia movie of Mabado Kunan. Will even in the van, when you see Alpha, when we came off, never. I ain't going to say, we're politically sound. When we kiss what on, but whatever I can't be one of an adjective. Umwaka Jews, ever, you see Israel. So can I make good naga? Come on, Embassy, Umwaka.
Okay. Okay, Dalurinde, thank you very much. And for the benefit of those that did not understand everything he said, let me just summarize it by saying that Igwe is making the case that one of the strongest ways to uphold our culture and our identity is through our Igbo names, because he used a wise saying, the eyes eats before the mouth eats. So when you meet someone and you are an Igbo person, your name gives you away. And as someone who regards the culture, you are supposed to project your identity, starting with your name. And he gave the example that all his children have Igbo names. So the only thing I want to add to this is that if you have an Igbo name, which I believe that most of us do, and especially for the younger ones, I've met a lot of people who do not know how to pronounce their names properly. It may be their first name or their last name, and that may be the fault of the parents. But we come back to that. But your name is very, very important as an Igbo person. It's the first marker of your identity, and we need to respect it. We have, again, we are past 1 hour mark, so we are going to the questions now, and we have the first question here is from Igbo Unite, and let me read it. It says, "Good evening, everyone, and thank you for your wise words. Quick question: how do you reconcile being a traditional ruler living in the diaspora? What are some of the difficulties and challenges you face?" So Igwe, this one is for you. You're a traditional ruler, and I guess this person assumes that you live in America. So can you go ahead and clarify and address the question?
Well, Obi, you have known me for some years now.
Yes.
And you know that since I became Igwe about 5 years to 6 years now, I live in both worlds now. I live in Nigeria, in Atani, and I also live here. So occasionally I come and spend a few months here and then go back, because it will be difficult not to come and do my normal some checkups and be with my family, then go back and be with the family over there too. So it's not difficult at all. I've been able to combine living in both places. and it's working out very well.
Okay. Yes. So, who asked this question? I can't say the name, but yeah, Igwe lives in Nigeria actually, but he has family here, and he visits Atlanta very often. And I think he might be stuck here because of COVID and travel restrictions. He was here and he has been here, and we're happy to have you here with us. The next question, how can Omenala practices be passed on from the current generation to the next? Also, how do we go about transforming the practices that are controversial?
Do you want me to speak to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
There are some practices, like some rites of passage, that were meant to move little girls from being girls to womanhood and boys to men. Those practices were destroyed because of lack of understanding of the colonizers when they came. For the boys, it was through the masquerade system, and that was not easily destroyed, because part of the duty of the masquerade is policing, and I'm not going to go any further than that. For the rites of passage for girls was very easily destroyed by lack of understanding of the role that those rites played in the life of the girls. And so the question is, how do we ensure that we pass those certain valuable traditions up to the next generation? So when we came here, in effort to create a network for children and a network of like-minded people to reclaim and propagate Igbo language and culture and traditions, Otumune was founded in 1986 to do just that. In 1994, our son was, he was initiated in Nigeria. When we came back, my girls asked me, why? Because it really made an impact on him, we could tell. And so the girls asked, why don't we have any such thing for the girls? And I really couldn't give her an immediate answer. The only thing I told her was that a lot has been destroyed because of lack of understanding of the role of some traditions in conjunction with the church. So we did some research. I mentioned it to 2 Munne members, and they all searched out Igbo traditional rites of passage practices for the girls. And we came together and designed what we call rites of passage. The first one was done in 1997. Some of the children that went through our program went off to college and came back. Our oldest daughter, Zoma, was one of the, and I think the 3 other families came back for that program. And it has such an impact on all the children that have gone through that program. So that's one way. You take what is good in your culture and preserve it, because that's exactly what the West does. There is nothing they do not preserve. They even come and take our own, and then we have to fly and to come to the museums to experience those things.
Right.
You see, and it's not right. You know, I'm not saying that people should come out and Ikengam or this. No. As Christians, there is no other God but Him. We know that. And therefore, if we are truly Christians, we should not be scared by wooden images. We should not be scared. If there is something that is good in those practices, let's keep it. rites of passage for the girls, it will teach them, you know, grooming. It's a wonderful time of year of their life for them. Grooming, what does it mean to be a girl? And then the church took over, killed that program, nothing to replace it. To the point that some of the girls in colleges during puberty struggled with their body changes. These are the things that were taught during those rites of passage.
Okay, so let me ask you a quick question, please.
Mm-hmm.
What are the qualifications? Who, assuming someone who is watching this wants to be initiated to apply for a chance to attend one of the ceremonies, what are the minimum requirements?
The minimum requirement is to be an interested child. Okay? Whether you're Igbo and African American, because it's open. Otumuna Correctional Organization has thrown it open to everybody in the community.
Okay.
Okay, and yeah, if we go to our website, the information should be there. It's open, and we used to do it as a yearly program, but now it's every other year. So depending on the number of children, of the graduates we have. It's really a wonderful experience. The boys are organized with the men in the group, and the girls are organized by the women. And it kind of creates a network for them, a memorable experience for them. It's not unchristian.
Okay, so, Ugo, before you go, please, let me remind everyone, if anyone has a question, please unmute your microphone and ask the question, or you can post the question here and I'll go ahead and ask the question. Ugo, go ahead.
Okay, so Dallon, and I think it's been a great conversation thus far. I like to keep an eye on the time. It's 9:12 p.m. and I'm willing to go for 2.5 hours, 3, but we have to be cognizant of time and respect you all's time as well. I want to make sure that onye anache a question that's important, that we have an opportunity to ask those questions. So 9:12, we'll probably run it another 30 minutes or so. If the panelists are willing to continue, we can go till 10, if you guys still have time and energy to continue. But I'll leave it up to you all and we'll be watching as we go. So the first question I have is, Umu Igbo Unite. Umu Igbo Unite is mostly for the younger folks, right? But there is also a generational gap between Ndi Non-Igbo Union and Umu Igbo Unite and people like us that are in limbo, because sometimes the conversation out there, and this is a conversation we keep on having amongst our generation. So what is you all's take about how to bridge the gap? I think it goes back to Onye Julaji previously. How do you bridge the gap and make sure that you are looping in the younger generations? Because what's at stake, it's more than Ndenaches or president or chairman. It's now a continuation of culture for the next generation and for our children. So how do we bridge the gap?
Igwe,
can you come back again with the question?
How do we get more younger folks involved in Ihadeka Igbo Union, World Igbo Congress, and things like that, at least here in the diaspora?
So come on, you get I may not very well. We did well. We, their parents, did well. We agreed to come together and promote all our intense Igbo culture through our music, our dressing, our food, getting together, respecting the elders, and all the good things that make us Igbos, make us unique. The only areas I mentioned earlier we are beginning to miss a little bit is getting our children to take the battle, take the torch, do it the way we did, and pass it on to their own generation. So I like this arrangement that the Catholic Men's Organization have done, along with
sorry, is it my network, Igwe network, or the port, or some more?
My network. So you can't hear me very well.
No, you're good. You're good now. You're good.
I'm good now. So what I'm saying is that if we can improve by getting our children to take over, join the Igbo Union, join Otumunne, join all these places where their parents were able to nurture and pass on our culture to them. Let them take over these organizations because they now are becoming parents so that they in turn will pass it on to their own children. Then it becomes a continuity. If you watch the state of Israel, it's the diaspora Jews that are developing Israel. It's one of the best countries in the world. In fact, a world power. So you know what is going on in Nigeria now. You know the challenges Igbo face in Nigeria. If we're able to build a very strong Igbo system in the diaspora with serious continuity, believe it or not, these children will turn around and be the people that will make the Igbo nation the nation of the future, and also a world power. It's possible. It can be achieved. So we as adults now need to do the much we can to encourage these kids to take over from us, take it over with the same vigor that we, their parents, did, and then move on with it. Continue to go home occasionally and balance both home and here in any way they can, and continue to interact the way we taught them. I believe that our culture will not die. In fact, we even become greater, the diaspora. And one day we'll come back and make a great nation for us.
Okay. Iyom, because before
Ugo, can I add something?
Yes, one quick second. Because I think you have an opportunity because I see at least from Igbo Unite and some of the other younger people now on board, now in this group. We're all having kids, like Igwe rightly said, and it is time to get them to participate in Article 2 Munne. Generation after the fact, right? So to the extent that we use this opportunity to talk about how do we get younger people involved? How do we actively recruit them? You know, with Otumunne, you know, it's time to talk about it, tell people and convince the younger folks that it's their time to join and participate.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. It's really very pertinent. Otumunne Cultural Organization, our motto and our mission is cultural education of children, creating a network for them, creating a network for the women, and support of our families. And so to get involved, please visit our website. Our PRO, Mrs. Eteloto, she's right here. Mrs. Eteloto, if you can give that information, I will appreciate that.
Okay, one more thing. There's another question that you can touch on. Is there an age limit to joining Otumunne? What are the requirements? You have to be married to be admitted to Otumunne?
Oh, no, you don't have to be married. It's open to any it is open to any woman married and over the age of 18 onwards. You see, no, you don't have to. And we hold monthly language and culture classes for the children every month. Every last Sunday of the month we do. And now virtually we're going to start virtually because of COVID. I'm having interference. Okay, so if you, Ms. Otto, please, if you don't mind, post that information on the screen, not on the screen, but
on the chat.
Yes, on the chat, please. Yeah.
Do you mean our website? Do you mean our website?
Oh, yeah, the information of of how people can join us.
Okay.
Otumunne Cultural Organization and what we're about.
Okay.
But you can post that information on that for everybody to know who to call.
Okay, Nzeluaka, Biko, go ahead and make your point. Sorry, Iyom.
Okay, because always something I was fighting here in Atlanta for a very long time, but I couldn't get it to stick. No bani, and we had about age grade. It's difficult for me to join the same meeting that my dad is in, or the reason. So even it's not the reason that somebody like your dad, even if you're 60 years old, your dad still looks at you as a young man, as a boy. So that your opinion in some cases does not really matter. But even the Kabag and Abaya, we have what we call age grade. So my dad, my senior brother were in Jikoka. This is, Mwoko is like a mentor to the next age grade. The next age grade is a mentor to the next age grade. Anomifu Goku, that I mean, joining Igbo Union. Ugo or OBA may not want to join Igbo Union. But what stops this very particular generation from, okay, you have overgrown Igbo United, right? But you can form a group that is your level, newly married group, can organize and have a group. Then it behooves the Igbo Union, the World Igbo Congress, to liaise with you also to get things done. Because like I said, the age grade, Ajwa Igwe Akukalia, Igwe Ngoddy, he knows what age grade is. Every age grade, they have a responsibility that can be assigned from the top. The same thing, if we all come together, say Igbo Union, then your age group can have a representation in Igbo Union. The women group that may not want to join Otumunne because they say, how can I join this meeting with my mother? They can form a group that can liaise with Otumunne too. That's what I've been advocating, so that we get more people doing things, having more responsibilities, and getting activities done. So I have eventually to, so forming new younger groups of your age group is not a bad thing. It will help us also to get things done.
The key that Nzeluaka mentioned is that liaison. If we just have disparate groups without that central coordination, then it's not going to be of any use to us. Igbo Union survived because there is central authority. My father in 1948 was the secretary for Igbo Union Nguru. From 1948, when I was born, till 1966, when we ran back from the north for the war. Okay, so it is very important. You know, the town unions fed into what they call the district unions, which fed into the overall, the main Igbo Union. So there's just hierarchy. It's not a question of Igbo Union, the town union operating independently. There is that liaison. That is going to be a challenge, especially in the diaspora. There are too many groups, and there seems to be unhealthy and unnecessary and un-Igbo competition, which has led us nowhere. So that's to support what Nzeluaka just said, it's very, very important that in forming all these groups, there has to be a mission. What do we do? How do we get together for common good?
Okay, so let me highlight something that someone has brought to my attention here in addition to what you just said. A lady said that sometimes when younger women want to join Otumunne or any of these older organizations for older people, they find a barrier, what she calls it a quote-unquote cliquishness, that there are cliques within the organization that tends to look down on the younger ones who do not yet belong to any clique. Can you address that?
Yes, I'll be very happy to. That person must not have come to Otumunne. because Otumunne we have this open meeting. You can come and join us virtually or physically and see for three good months to see if this is for you. And of course, we reach out to our new members. And so, unfortunately, when people come in, you present yourself, you find you have to present yourself and look for connection. It's just there, but you have to open yourself up to welcome. We the older ones, we understand what it means because we didn't know each other, and we go out of our way to embrace the new ones. And if that has been an experience of this person, I can't question her feelings, and I'm sorry if you've encountered any such thing with any member in the Otumunne, but that's not who we are. We are very inclusive, we encourage, we've been preaching and praying for young people to come and join us so that we can pass on what we know. We are not taking it with us. So my apologies to who this person is, but it's an unfortunate experience, but that's not what the Otumunne is.
Okay,
we are
okay.
A blessing community.
Okay.
Ichego Chinyelu.
Okay, we'll go ahead.
To the nitty-gritty, like presentation of coronavirus.
Ebanyo Ugochinyelu, ebanyo microphone gị o. Anyị da-anụzi ife ị na-ekwu. Ọ bụ na ị ka na-anụ nke anyị. If you can still hear us, we can hear you.
Okay, all I said that presentation of coronavirus is very
Okay.
So ihe niile ime ịgbatuo volume ofu onye. Yeah, so Iyom biko ịgbatuo ya volume, then the echo will go away.
So what I'm suggesting that we should, as an idea, I suggest strong that we should embrace Igbo in praying for with Corona in English, so that our children will understand what we're saying. And also, our audience, thank you. That's what I want to try. Did I make yourself clear?
I know you, yeah.
Okay. Igwe biko onwe ajụjụ asị ka ajụọ gị. Onwe onye sị na a na-afụzi ebe ụmụ nwaanyị na-eti na-awụ chief n'ala Igbo. Ọ ife kwesịrị ekwesị na ụmụ nwaanyị abụ chief, ụmụ nwaanyị a na-awa ọjị.
Ụmụ nwaanyị aka ebiri ọkwa waba ọjị, mana ọ gbasa ụmụ nwaanyị ọ na-awakwala onwe kwa ọjị.
Okay.
Ihe mere ya bụ na o nwere ife chi ikwu bụ ele ka ọ bụla edosiri ya ọfụma. Iyom ọdịkọ na mbakwu. Ọ na-akọwa na ụmụ nwaanyị nwekwara ezigbo ọnọdụ na sosaiti ndị Igbo n'oge gboo. Oge ndị ọcha bịara ka ebido wee butewe nkewa niile a. Abịazi ife dịka na o nwere okwu a na-ekwu, ọ bụrụ na okwu gbasara nwaanyị, immediately ndị okenye zuru na a ga-ekwu okwu a. Ị na-awọchizifa, ọ bụrụ na agbagori nwaanyị ikpe bife ebido kpere ekpere, no matter etu esi wee kpe na ikpe na ya nwa is already considered at fault. It's very, very wrong. Ọ bụ na onwe nwaanyị distinguish onwe ya na modern age anyị nọ ya kịta, na-eme nọ ife kara aka, enyi ya chieftaincy from anything wrong about it. E were chieftaincy wee honor ya for ife dị mmụọ na-eme. Ga na-eme ugwu obodo a na-aga n'ihu. Ọ ife ọma ka ọ bụ. Nwa asọrọ na ụmụ nwaanyị ga-ebido waba ọjị, mana fa mee ife distinguish ọfụma. If they do something that brings them out, promotes the community and help the community, especially the new community we have now, we should honor them with chieftaincy title. There's nothing wrong about
it. Okay.
Can't you can obey on ka tinye ike itinye nwa obere ọnụ o nwere ife na aghọtasịrị bụ ebidozie na-aza chief anyị na-ekwu maka saving and propagating our Igbo tradition and culture. I can speak Igbo very, very well. Come on now, we have a mixed audience, so that's why I'm sticking with English. But if Enwelo also very different, many titles for men, also Nze, Igwe, Eze, Ichie, and so on and so forth. Nankomo wine, enwe Iyom, Lolo, Okpo, Ichiada, Ichio, Isiokpo, and so on and so forth. Those we can trace back for years and years and years back. But now, what bothers me is that, yeah, we've been doing it since colonization came. Chief, what does that mean? Igwe, I'm throwing this to you, for you and the Igwe Council to really revisit it. Chief, ultra chief, what does that mean? Okay, actually, back in 1994, I'm supposed to be Chief Mrs. You see, no, I can't trace it back beyond colonization. It stops right there. But Iyom, Okpo, Lolo makes sense. We can tell our children it has a meaning. I couldn't come to America and answer Chief Mrs., even though it's chieftaincy title. So no, I am about all the anyways ultra chief. Nobody's an ordinary chief anymore. This and that. What do we tell our children? Where does it stop? But we can trace Igwe goes back to millennia, also to the millennia, and so on and so forth. Oh, yeah, but my concern, and it's not too late to change it for those people that answer chiefs. It's my personal challenge as an Igbo woman. Can
I help you a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
The reason you hear chief like tonight, and we're using it the way we're using it, even to cover the women, is because we are talking about everything in English. The people will give chieftaincy title, say for women. We teach one, we teach yomu, we teach one yomu, we teach other titles, or do a wine, onka. Obro chief Ghana, for the sake of those who don't understand Igbo language that clearly, we are mixing our conversation today. There are communities that bring it down literally the way you are talking. But a community so far really good, that have really good tradition. They still make women chiefs, but they have titles to go with it. Omueze, you know, Iyom, or all those kind of titles that are exclusively kept for women who distinguish themselves in the community. Then if it becomes a woman who wants to have titles, there are titles for women. There is a Igbo title, there is Iyom title, there is other title things that the women do, you know. But to make it easy, they just call them chief, especially when we are conversing like we're doing now. And then some communities literally use it. So, we have been busy changing and correcting a lot of things in Igbo land. Things like Igwe South Africa, Igwe Jos, all those things we have already started removing them in our dictionary. And don't why clean the bad ones. We continue to clean them off because they are not really Igbo tradition. So with time, some of the people that are making mistakes will continue to help them to reshape them and change them.
Okay. Onye jụrụ sị dịka isi wee kwu na kwesịrị na-akwado omenala. Anyị ma bụ nọ n'obodo oyibo, both the older generation and the younger generation. In what ways can we all contribute to support the traditional institutions which you are part of as custodians of the culture? What role do we have from America to support what you are doing to make sure that our culture is adequately preserved?
Okay, what I believe we can do can come in different fronts. Say, for instance, day before yesterday, young man called me from my town and told me that they are the youngest new age grade, like his worker touched, that is being formed. And they're the same age with my son, AJ. And I said, oh, Azuka Jr. is already to the age of joining. He said, yes. So I said, okay, call him. Call my son, not me. Call him and tell him that an age grade that will engulf him is now being formed. Does he want to be a member? I'm sure he would like to be a member. And when he joins, if there are things that, all the conditions, he has to meet all that so that he will become a member of that age grade. From there, I will be encouraging him to make sure he's contributing. He comes home now because I live in Nigeria. So he comes home every December and he likes to participate in everything they are doing. Masquerade, any ceremony that is going on. They've been able to take him out and teach him how to swim in the River Niger. They are teaching him how to throw nets, catching fish. And because it's our tradition, you must learn how to do it, how to paddle uboju, that small hired thing. As a man, you are supposed to learn all those things. So his age grade people are teaching him all those so that he can melt into the system and become one of them. So the only way that the people in the diaspora can tie into all this is to continue to, not everybody will have the opportunity of going home or be safe and all that. Let them continue to do their own here. If there is a way we can harness what Zuluaka was suggesting and get our people here, both boys and girls, to have societies like, say, Igbo Unite and all that, and do it in a way that it will galvanize their age, they will be able to reason among themselves and graduate to the next grouping and continue like that. Believe it or not, we will not die. Look at what we do in the Catholic Church. We have Igbo masses, and other churches are doing the same thing now. These ideas come, we adopt them, we promote them, and we get the best out of them to continue to help us so that our culture will not die. The bottom line is not to kill our culture. And I believe these are the things we can be doing to make
Obi, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Igwe Kenemgo, Iyom Kenemgo, Ikenna Elobucho, Mekanna na Agruneku.
Okay.
Asking come Kenono, and to thank you for joining and speaking up about our culture and about all things Igbo. Igwe, this question is mostly for you. Given that we are in diaspora and most times change comes from the outside, and given your position as the Igwe of Atani, yes. Also knowing that you guys are in a fertile land for rice cultivation, for instance, what are you doing or how are you harnessing your position and also being able to have lived here for so long, trying to convince your peers and other Igwes on how the diasporans can start investing in our communities? How are we trying to harness that line and also harness your ability? And you've lived here for a while. How have you been trying to talk to other Igwes to start reaching out to folks in diaspora to invest in our communities back home?
Well, a lot of Igwes, the Igwes we have these days are highly educated. They have ex-professors, we have medical doctors, engineers, architects, traditionalists, all types of intellectuals that are now Igwes. Some of them even have their economic structure and their statistics about how they are doing. A lot of them have now, they go outside, they go to Europe, go to Australia, they go to America, try to encourage their people to come home and invest. Say, for instance, myself, when I went home, I saw a marvelous opportunity. Things I never thought that was there in the area of agriculture. I saw that my place is highly endowed with things like rice farming, yam, cassava, sweet potato, fishing. And I organized myself and got involved, heavily involved in rice planting. Started taking all the classes because the states are offering those classes to encourage people to do so. And then by extension, I started talking to my friends who are here, ones that I know who are here in Atlanta, encouraging them to see if it's possible for them to come home, come to our place, and we will help them get their own portions of land. If they want to buy, they can buy. If they want to, any way they want to do it, they can come and do it, so that they too can start planting. For instance, if you get involved in agriculture, you can quickly, very quickly, employ so many people who will be members of your cooperative. We form cooperatives of 10, 20 people. They contribute money and raise capitals to start getting their farming seedlings, their fertilizers, get their classes and trainings. A lot of these trainings are being posted online, the modern distance. And then people can invest without being practically there. Say their cohorts in overseas or in diaspora can invest indirectly or directly and become member of the cooperatives. So at the end of the year, they will harvest and sell what they have planted or grown. It's very simple. If the interest is there, the Igwes are doing their best to tie this outside diaspora wall with the home, so that with the combination of both, some can bring some financial strength, some can bring their technical know-how from abroad, and people will start practicing and using them at home to make all these tremendous changes. I can give you a bunch of examples. There are people who package the modern way of using special fertilizers, and you can cultivate a very small piece of land that will give you a very high yield. These are some of the new knowledges that are coming in the new science world that we are in now. I've seen it being taught in Anambra, how you can use a certain type of fertilizer that is not toxic to nature, and cultivate a piece of land that will give you a big yield, which a very massive land can give you otherwise in the past, due to the innovations in the sciences of agriculture. So the two walls are open. So if anybody can promote it from anywhere they are, and can start from home, start from your own home, and this thing will continue to grow. Poultry, fishing, piggery, bring all the ideas. I've seen a lot of ideas here that I've transferred over there, and I try to show them how they are doing it. And people are doing it, and they are doing well. There was a lady, Doyce's sister, who came to Nigeria and started doing okwa. That's almost 1,000 trees now growing. This is interest. Who will ever tell you that okwa can be grown up to 1,000 trees? You can imagine what this will turn into in the next 5 or 6 years. We'll be packaging it in different ways. So a lot of people are interested. People are doing something. People are in the diaspora are harnessing with the people at home, and something is going on. We just need more people to pick up such interest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Igwe, there's a question. The interest is not really the point. The interest has to be there first. Good point. Yes. So I want to leverage that for my question, which is, I think some of us, man, some of our children, I'm in America, and they mostly grow up here. And some of us are doing the same thing now. And the parents have mansions in the village, but the kids are not connected to that village. The kids don't even know, in some instances, how to go there, go to that place. So for us that are the new generation, how do we start correcting it? And for those that have their children on here, who their children are not rooted in the village, which means now when they are no more, the village, the house and the mansion and everything is done, because, we've heard some of those stories, by virtue of doing Igbo class and things like that. So how do we begin to reverse that?
Well, my thing is this. Like I give a little example with myself when I started. We were born and bred in the townships, what is called cities in Nigeria. My interest about my community started when my father would take us home during New Yam Festival, during Okutu Festival, during the festivals of my town. At that time, my place, like I told you, we live by the River Bank, I live by Niger Bank. We don't even know how to stand without falling because our soil is very slippery. We don't even know how to put the hook on well to throw in the River Niger and catch fish. But the people at home were teaching us all this. That time, cows move freely, and their dumps is everywhere. We were told to stand on it, walk over it. So with time, I started to, even the smell of the village became interesting. What they eat, the way they do when it's even or ogoro, when they put up fire almost on the street and people will sit around it, started to interest me. So I picked up interest. I'm sure my father didn't know that all of us are so much interested in what is going on there, even though it's way less than the situation and the good life we have in the city. But the interest was building. So after the civil war that we have gone there and come, he doesn't need to tell us when to go home. We fly home, we run home. Home was embraced. And today, they are no more there, but we are there. So what I have done for my children is to encourage them to come. Now, even my girls can come home on their own, buy their ticket and come without any escort. AJ knows how to come and go on his own. He knows how to bargain. In fact, I take him to Onitsha and I try to show him how to drive at the peak hour. You need to know how our roads are. And I started showing him all the tricks on how to drive in Onitsha at the peak hour. That is when people are getting off from their shops and their sheds. So all this is to make sure that we can melt into that port, into that Nigerian situation and love the place, even though it's not as good. The electricity is not as good as what they have here. The water is not as good, but they're showing him a way to make that water safe and drinkable. Show him a way to communicate with his cousins and learn the things he doesn't know. And that's exactly what we are doing. Now, the day when he was going the last time he came, started crying that he doesn't want to go. I said, you have to go back and finish your The day you can choose wherever you want to stay. But I'm glad the interest is there already.
Yeah.
So my encouragement is if your father has all those investments, houses, this, that, try to connect. Go at least once a year. Once every 2 years is good. When you go, you relax. It's also your home. You guys here in the diaspora are very lucky to have 2 homes in your lifetime. The government was good in giving us dual citizenship. So you can have Nigerian passport as well as the American passport. So you go home. When you go home, whether there is anybody there or nobody there, try to enjoy what your parents have already put in there. Try to make yourself part of that system. Because the spirit of your forefathers are there. The spirit of your parents are there. That spiritual interaction with the physical realm, all of them makes you an abag and a man, or makes you an Atani man. And that should be good enough for you to be interested in going. So that those things they did there will not go in vain. That's my submission.
Okay. Because we are in the final.
I think Iyom wanted to chime in.
Okay, yeah, I'm just reminding us of the time constraints. Iyom, I'm watching you, so let's try to make the points more succinct and brief so that we don't go too much over time. And I have a question coming up. Iyom, please, after you make your point, go ahead.
Just in support of what Igwe, to reemphasize what he said, he said absolutely correct. The onus is on the parents, it's not the children. The children will model what we do. If we show interest in our culture, the children will fall in automatically. You take them home, you go home, they will go home. But if you scare them stiff, they are not going. We started taking our children when they were very, very small. Every other year, it was once we got settled. And I know that we all have different stresses, but the most important investment we can make on behalf of these children born in diaspora is to show them their village, show them their source, show them where it all began for us. We will take them home, and we are both at Abag and at Adazienu, just bypassing all the townships. We'll visit that townships. If you take your children and stop at Lagos, you have not really gone home. You know, the village is where it is. That's where the homestead is, you know. So I just leave it at that. Take your children home, get them involved. Even in Atlanta here, it was like pulling teeth, trying to get some of these parents. 1986, when we started the Tumunne, look, it's not about us, it's about our children. It's mothers taking membership to educate our children, but some did not understand it. You have to catch them early, catch them young.
Okay, so thank you, Iyom. Yeah, it's the responsibility of the parents to guide the children. So the elephant in the room for our community still remains the barrier to language learning. The fact that a lot of Igbo people born in America are unable to speak Igbo presents a lot of challenges in so many ways. When they go to Nigeria, they cannot communicate with some of the family members, or when things are being said around them, they may feel lost or inadequate because they cannot participate because of language barriers. Some of the older generations said that the reason they did not teach their parents Igbo, their children Igbo language was because they did not know. They thought that teaching them Igbo would confuse them and inhibit their progress in school. But all that has been debunked. Sadly, some of the new generation of Igbo parents may not be doing enough to prepare their children to not face the challenges and the problems that these current young adults are facing. What are the way forward? What can young Igbo parents do to make sure that their children do not have to suffer the things that they suffer or be limited in the way they are limited now because of language
barriers? Who goes?
Yeah, you can go first. And any member of any of the participants, please, if you have a suggestion, go on.
Again, we'll start them very young. I know, there is no perfect parent. We made our mistakes. You know, I was one of those that said, okay, well, it will confuse them, but totally debunked. You know, so we start them show their interest, start teaching them, start having conversational Igbo, plug them into, we now are very fortunate, we have some online Igbo classes. We have teachers like Obi Njoko, that and some others, and Utumune that gives Igbo classes. Let's find that time to plug our children into those programs. It's not about us anymore, it's about them. Give them that opportunity. The way we make sure and do their schoolwork, make sure it's done, that's the same way, the same emphasis we will lay on Igbo classes. I would recommend that maybe World Igbo Congress or some of these other organizations create subsidized online classes that start with elementary, I, B, C, D, just elementary, not making any assumptions. And subsidize them so that the young people, there is hunger out there for it. Especially for our older ones who have all graduated, we can't force it down. We can at least start early in elementary school while they are very, very small. Sing them Igbo lullaby. Sing them, call them by name, they'll be dancing for you. They insist on that lullaby. If you don't know it, learn it. I personally did not study Igbo in secondary school, and I wish I did. The only Igbo I knew how to read and write is Bible also, but it's different. I'm lost when it comes to Igbo, writing Igbo. Mazi Obinjoko is laughing. It's the fact. So my children will ask me certain things about modern Igbo, how to write it. I'll write in a Bible Igbo, and they say, no, that's not it. Okay, so we are all learning. I would learn. I've even checked out some of this on how to write modern Igbo, because Igbo has to progress. The onus is on us. Nobody will do it for us. Let us realize that Igbo amaka. Igbo, there's a lot to be done with it. Igbo literacy, genyela anyaka to understand Igbo arts and culture and traditions. It's not a choice. It is a must. And my husband was was saying something about Iwoji in Igbo. And we lose all these children. It's like you're preaching to an audience that doesn't understand what you're saying. And so for that to be propagated, we have to find a way, with all deference to Igwe, but if we are not, if we are losing this generation, we've lost it. I have a very good friend of ours, is the chair of African Arts at Massa University. I mean, you'll be amazed. He does that at the Pan-African Festival. So Igbos are very progressive people. We can retain the traditional and then make room for our young children so we don't lose them.
Dalorine, thank you very much. What is your...
If I may add something, Biko.
Well, go ahead.
Biko, for the younger generation, they can almost and there are some of the adults too. Being proud of yourself. Or to public place, you have to be proud of your Igbo heritage. That interest within here. The parents have to be proud to say that they are Igbo. So at a couple from them. My own personal experience, ndị nwoke na-abụ amago mmọnwụ na-abaga solo mmụọ solo kete ego mmọnwụ, just like Igwe na-ekwu with AJ. Adam nwanyị ejego na-abaga na solo ji agba nkwụ biche cousins ya. You have to be proud of who you are. Chukwu emere mistake. God did not make you an Igbo person by mistake. God never makes any mistakes. So first and foremost for me, you have to be proud that you're an Igbo person. If I look at Iyom, even if you're blind, you will see, okay, that's an Igbo woman. But some of our ladies are ashamed to dress up the way she's dressed up right now. Look at Igwe. Some of our men, the younger ones, they are ashamed to dress up the way Igwe is dressed as Igwe, but to wear traditional outfit. Here in Atlanta, somebody told me that wearing Isiago is idol worship. That's the mindset of some of our people. So you have to first and foremost be proud of yourself for that interest to spring up in you.
Igwe, we're back to you, Biko. Go ahead.
Well, ndị kwuru okwu ya emetụsigo ife niile aka. Ife mma bụ na anyị bụ ndị Igbo dị iche ka aka. And ife ọbụla bụ nke anyị ga-akaba arụ jidesie ike. Ụmụaka anyị ga-akaba arụ na-encourage fa ka fa na-eme ife, be very proud na fa bụ ndị Igbo. Ebe ọbụla fa nọ na nke mụ dị, ọ dị emi, and etu a ka mụ nwa mere respect na ọ ga-adị n'ebe ụmụ anyị, so that ebe ọbụla fa nọ na fa ga na-atụpụta na mmiri ka azụ. Enwe ike ime ka culture anyị continue na-aga n'ihu. So If I take watching, for example, we can still do it. You can combine English and Igbo to do the. I can bless. I do it in my palace. I'm both in English and Igbo. Sometimes I combine it both. Mananya, Ulanya will fair for the kind of audience I will. Even some of our proverbs in the award I sometimes I do them in English, combine now with in Igbo too, so that the real meaning will come out, the message will get to the audience, and the people who are there will catch it. They are ours. They belong to us, and we belong to them. Therefore, the means of delivering what they will understand should always be burdensome on us to make sure that the message is fully delivered. So that they will take you over. So we'll continue to do it in that line.
Okay. Something else that I want to bring out is that even though some of the younger generations may be hindered by language barriers, they can still learn a lot about the culture and the identity. For example, if you go to any college or ask anybody who has gone to college in America, who is Aphrodite or Achilles, they will tell you these are Greek characters that are taught to us. But ask any young Igbo man or woman who is Ojadele. We have our own heroes in Igbo legendary and folklore, but we don't do enough to even impart this knowledge to Igbo children. Even if it's in English, they can know a lot about the culture. And Wamaka and Ngoddy mentioned it here that she has language barriers, but her love for the culture and the knowledge of the culture drives her. So even if you don't speak the language, reach out, do what you can to make sure that knowledge about our culture, our history is passed on to the next generation. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't learn the language. That is very, very important. I also want to point out that we may be coming back to you, Igwe and Iyom, because there's a lot of interest and we're out of time. And many people are asking us to do part 2 because there are some points that they feel that we need to address that has not been addressed. So, Igwe, I will give you the chance to make your closing remarks. Iyom, you will follow, and our president, Coleto Denibo, I hope he's home now so that he can round it up.
Well, I will take this. Why is it echoing?
We are having interference.
Oh, what is the echo? Okay, all right. I think it's okay now.
Okay.
Now, I want to seize this opportunity. I want to thank you guys, Obi. I want to thank you so much for getting what you people are. I've been following some of them since I've been around. 5 days that you are on, I always try to be alert so that I can enjoy what you guys are doing. For the past presenters, including the one Iyom and Botinya did, I think what you are doing is unique, it's different, and it's very progressive. People are yearning to clear their Igbo identity. Well, our children are yearning to know more about us. And I know very proudly inside me, having observed them as they were growing, all of them, with my own kids and other people's kids here, that they have acquired a lot from us. It's difficult to take inventory, but it's there. Because I've been watching them as they were growing. I've been watching them the way they behave when they're with other people. I believe they are well anchored. And this is as a result of what you people are doing. So my great thanks to the Catholic Men Organization. My great thanks go to the president too, Ohamadike, and also to the presenters who have found time to be able to come, and some of our elders who sat in. we shall continue to do what we are doing today. We'll continue to do it endlessly. Anytime you call me and I'm around, I will participate, because my father told me that I will continue learning until I go into the grave. So also, I will continue passing whatever knowledge I have until the last day. Thank you. We use others.
Daalụ biko o nwere ife ịlụtụ aka Maazị Njoku maka our children being hindered by lack of proficiency in Igbo language. And I want to encourage them. The colonizers that came and wrote about Igbo traditions, they did not speak Igbo. They got interpreters. First of all, they had interest, and they knew what preservation of culture meant. So I want to encourage them that make the effort to learn it, go online. As things get better, there will be better, consistent programming on Igbo language and culture. But in the meantime, because parents take interest in an Igbo, take interest, and let's teach our children. I'm holding us this book because it's 2 volumes and it's on Amazon still. I've had this now for over 20 years. It says Igbo Tungsten Shaw was the author, and I believe he was one of the archaeologists that dug up the finds at Igbo Isaiah. And it's very, very fascinating stuff. Another thing I will mention also to our children about identity is everything. If you don't define yourself, somebody else will define it for you, and you're not going to be happy what you hear. Okay? Choose to be Igbo. Start from there. Find your roots. Find your Omunna. Find your Ikunne, your mother's people. Find your village. Find your state. Find your country. You're from West Africa, you're in America, you're fully born African-American, you are American. American means all these disparate, different cultures that make up this great nation that we are part of. It's never too late. And for the organizers, I say, thank you so much. Igbo Catholic community, Igbo Unite, this is fantastic. Maazị Ezekwueche, Maazị Njoku, it's really wonderful to connect with you guys. I don't think you have an idea about the impact that you're making in our children. Thank you so much. Hello.
Yes, I know make it. Iyom.
Maazị Denibo.
Igwe Ngoddy. What a wonderful evening. I think I will close by picking back to what Chief Anibe said, and Iyom and Ngoddy. My belief has always been that competence has no color. It doesn't matter where you come from. You know, success is a global citizen. Iyom, when I wrote you back, I said by popular demand, in my on a Catholic, Ichi Arana Bazana Catholic. Next year they will call you again to come and do it. Especially if you do a great job like you guys are doing. Igwe Ngoddy, thank you very, very much. You know, you continue to sacrifice to our community, and what a good pair we had tonight. And Obi, thank you for good moderation, and Ugo. And all members of NICCA and CMO and the entire Igbo community in Atlanta. You know, people are not interested in us not because we're inferior. They're interested in Igbo because there's something deep about the Igbo culture. You know, when Chief Anibe said, "Na mmadụ not tabu isiago," ima Igbo manemo ko feke na ndị Igbo. So kuna mmadụ na-ekwu, ima mo feke kagiri adekwu. So because I want to, on behalf of NICCA, I want to thank you guys for sharing your time. Iyom, you've continued to violate your bedtime to be with us. It's almost it's past 10 o'clock. We appreciate that. And anytime you call in, you look at the participants. Today, I looked at one time we had 79. Once again, that's the highest that we've got today in our Friday lectures, because Igwe and Ngoddy pair up tonight. This is wonderful. So thank you guys and good night. We wish you well, stay safe, and Corona will not see us. Thank you very much.
I don't know. Igwe.
Igwe.
Azuka dalụnụ Igwe.
Igwe.
Azuka dalụnụ dalụ gị.
Demenụ.
Igwe Ogwuike.
Igwe. Dalụnụ jinne.
Onye nke mere go.
Onye nke unu mekwara unu.
Ndị njem ọnụ demenụ.
Obi.
Mama
Anjuna. Ugo omama.
Ugo dalụnụ.
Dalụnụ Igwe.
Onye ejide emenụ.